Be concerned about the Boston Celtics?
I don't think so. Listen, I respect the hell out of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think they're two stars in this league. My problem is I don't like their depth. I really, really don't. And because of that, listen, you got to get Kemba Walker healthy. We understand that because I think they're a different team. When he's lighting it up, combined with those two on the court, I think that makes them incredibly formidable. But I'm getting the sense that Boston had their window. And I'm getting the sense that Danny Ainge should have been willing to pull the trigger on a couple of deals that he was a bit reluctant to do so. So he made a commitment to have a sustained level of success from the standpoint of being comfortable, being successful enough to compete as opposed to really, really going for it the way that he did in 2008 when he ultimately acquired KD and Ray Allen. I just look at things differently. I look at Boston a little bit differently right now. I know they're to be respected. I know you can't sleep on them. They're going to the playoffs. But in terms of Brooklyn needing to worry about them, if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I would be more worried about Philly and Milwaukee than I would be about Boston at this particular moment in time. And if I'm KD, I'm not worried about anybody because if KD is healthy, he is simply unstoppable. And Kyrie is box office. He's a showstopper. You walk through the turnstiles to see the show that Kyrie might put on because he's just got that kind of game.
I think the Celtics are something to be concerned about, primarily because of the ascension of Jaylen Brown. When we were looking at Jaylen Brown, look, Tatum could one day be, this is going back a couple of years, the number one offensive option on a championship caliber team. And Jaylen Brown could be a really nice two-way player. Then I would agree with you. You lost Gordon Hayward. Kemba is hurt right now. And that doesn't sound like enough. But if the difference between the value of Jaylen Brown and Tatum is actually extremely narrow, in other words, Jaylen Brown's basically as good as Tatum, almost as good as Tatum, which is what it looked like to me. He's a real two-way star as a wing right now. If he's taken that next step, Celtics are a problem. They're a problem because I understand what you mean about depth without Kemba and Hayward gone. But you look at their rotation, at least 1 through 7, they play they have very, very high quality players like Marcus Smart and Teague when Kemba comes back. That's 3 guys who can really play that position or at least play in your backcourt. Jaylen Brown could be a 2 or a 3, but you look at your wings, dominant wings like Brown and Tatum, and then they bring in Tristan Thompson to go with Tice, who's Tice is an above average player at the 4 or 5 especially, but he's a little undersized. Now you have Tristan Thompson too. And you include on top of that, the fact is they're well coached and experienced in the playoffs. I think you got to be concerned about the Celtics.
Well, listen, I'm not trying to sleep on Jaylen Brown because I consider him a stud. And Jayson Tatum, I can't say enough about him. But we've seen those two produce, and we know what kind of noise that they can make. But we also see them get gassed out because you're looking for somebody else to step up, and it just ain't there. Marcus Smart did step up in the playoffs. He had a lot of good playoff games. He deserves a lot of credit for that. But in the end, what it comes down to is that you just get the sense like there's another piece that's needed in order for them to get over the hump. When we look at the Brooklyn Nets, yes, we talk about KD and we talk about Kyrie, but we're also talking about Karis LeVert now, who could come off the bench for you and average 20 at the snap of a finger because he's just got that kind of game. You got Joe Harris in there. You got Spencer Dinwiddie in there, okay? Jeff Green, I think, is a good acquisition for them, all right? You got Taurean Prince. We can't ignore him, okay? And so you look at all of those things, and then you pick up Landry Shamet from the Clippers last season, and he's there for you now because he can give you some perimeter shooting off the bench. The Brooklyn Nets are loaded. And because they're loaded, I think that if you are the Boston Celtics, you can't just look at Tatum and Jaylen Brown and say those two alone can do it for you because that's definitely going to be offset by Kyrie and KD. It's the other pieces that you have in place, and I don't see it in Boston. I just don't.
Well, I mean, look, Kemba Walker might be that other. Gordon Hayward is not on the team anymore, and in many ways that hurts because I think they enjoyed or benefited from his passing in the starting lineup, the fact that he could score without the ball in transition, all those things. And yet it does mean, you would think, more touches for Jaylen Brown. It does, like when now Jaylen Brown really steps up, and that, again, if you think of him and Tatum differently now, Tatum could be the number 1 option on a championship team maybe, and Jaylen Brown is about as good as he is. things are a little bit different. And that doesn't even include Kemba Walker. When Kemba gets back, if he is mostly his old self, how's that for a number 3 option? Kemba Walker? Yeah, I think they got it. And by the way, you brought up Marcus Smart. Smart's a money on the line type player. Money on the line, he elevates.
The other night when we were watching KD and Kyrie put on the show, we also saw Karis LeVert do his thing, and we were excited about that. If you go back and you watch Boston last year, Kemba and Jayson Tatum, Kemba and Jaylen Brown, Jaylen and Jayson Tatum, etc., etc. There always seemed to be somebody who sacrificed so the other could get off, as opposed to the 3 really swarming you, per se. And I think that when you look at Boston, that's what's going to be required in order for them to have the kind of success that we once envisioned that they'd have. It's not about somebody taking a step back so the other can get step forward. It's about all 3 of them needing to do so, a formidable 3. When I look at KD, Kyrie, and Karis LeVert, I don't see Karis LeVert taking anything away from one of the other 2. I don't see one of the other 2 taking anything away from Karis, and I like that.
I like your Karis LeVert point, because LeVert sometimes will over dribble, but he doesn't have to do that. That's when he's less effective, and he's not just a spot up guy, who's going to catch and shoot. He can get his own shot off the dribble as long as he doesn't over dribble, and the presence of Kyrie and KD should help that, actually, right? It's probably on his mind. Don't monopolize the ball. But the bottom line is he's coming off the bench, at least in game 1, right? LeVert's off the bench as a 6th man. So maybe with the Celtics, you wind up seeing something like that if Kemba comes back and he can be that scoring machine in the 2nd unit, and you have a guy like Teague who's not going to dribble. Like, that could easily happen, and that's a weapon at that point.
Yeah, but you're saying a maybe, and I'm saying I don't have any maybes with Brooklyn because of KD. He is not only a superstar offensive player, it's his efficiency. And so as a result, the likelihood of those 2 really meshing with him is far more easier to see than the 3 in Boston at this particular moment in time. And that's my concern.
Brooklyn's supposed to win. Brooklyn's the favorite. They're going to be the favorites for a reason, but Celtics are real.
No question. All right, guys, we'll keep it moving. When we come back here on First Take, we've also got Kawhi, who will be in action. He's poised for a run at LeBron's Lakers, but find out why the Nuggets are poised to ruin the Claw's plans in the postseason again. And up next, we got a special gift for you on Christmas morning. Mavericks owner Mark Cuban talking some hoops. Our First Take Christmas special back after this short break.
Christmas, all right.
Zion and the Pelicans.
We're extremely blessed. Extremely blessed. Enjoy every moment as it comes. There's such a beautiful level to that. The layer beneath that is the purity of it all and the enjoyment of it all.
That is family over everything. Family over everything.
Good morning, everybody, and Merry Christmas. And as Stephen A. alluded to, 2020, an extremely challenging year. Our heart is with the Bryant family, as we just saw that montage, and with Kobe. But guys, what we hope to be today right here at ESPN is a bit of a respite. Yes, it's been challenging, but sports bring us together. Sports are distraction we need right now, and we have 5 incredible games today, plus 2 hours of Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. Max, you look great in that sweater. Well, I'm loving it. And here are the matchups, guys. Pelicans, Heat, Warriors, Bucks. Yeah. Let me just run through these games. Nets, Celtics, Mavs, Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets. It all starts at noon. Go ahead, Max.
It's a great slate today. It's unbelievable. But I just want to say, Merry Christmas, Stephen A. Merry Christmas, Molly.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Thank you. You too.
And I want to say, I want to say, they say Christmas is a day for miracles. A miracle has happened today, Molly. Are you ready for this miracle?
What?
This is the first time in the history of doing the show, First Take with Max Kellerman, that I'm actually jealous of his outfit. I've never felt that way before. But that's a pretty fly sweater. I know. Right there. I really wish that
he does look very cute.
I have to give credit.
Very handsome, Max.
That's a pretty fly sweater right there. I got to admit it. I wish I had that. That's pretty nice.
I love the spirit you're bringing. You look very handsome, Max. All right. We ready to do this, guys? So we've got 5 games, and let's have some fun for 2 hours. Give people a little bit of a break, and then obviously all day long on ESPN and ABC, you saw that slate. Incredible game. So here's the deal. Mavs owner Mark Cuban, he's going to be with us in just a bit. I want to focus on his squad. Luka Doncic, the MVP favorite, that according to Vegas. Dallas facing LeBron, AD, and the Lakers today. Max, do you think the Mavs are the biggest threat to the Lakers in the West?
I do. I think the Mavs are the biggest threat. And they're playing now without Porzingis, but that's because they're being careful. They want him healthy, obviously, this season. And you saw what Porzingis did in the bubble in the playoffs right before he got hurt. He was a monster. He was the crime partner Luka had that Kawhi, frankly, didn't. And by the way, had Porzingis not gotten hurt in that series, I'm very confident the Mavs would have beaten the Clippers. That's right. I picked the Clippers to go all the way. I thought they would have gotten knocked out in the first round by that Mavs team. And with another year of experience, they should be better. Guys, you know, I always talk about how the two-way wing is the quickest way to a championship when you pair those guys together, Jordan and Pippen or LeBron and Wade. But as the game has evolved increasingly, it's not just the two-way wing. It's the wing who's also the ball-dominant kind of offense organizer like LeBron or Luka. Luka Doncic, I think, is going to win MVP this year. He's already one of the best players in the game. And then Porzingis, as I mentioned, he has a guy, people forget the trajectory of Porzingis' career. Before he got hurt, he, to me, looked like he was evolving into a potential MVP.